Your Superior Self, episode 39.
Every time you make a new mistake, the aftermath or the results, the possible trauma that comes off of it actually diminishes. I'm not even kidding you. This is straight up. In the beginning, you might have some like serious aftermath. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Shit's gonna hit the fan. Embrace the suck, guys. It's part of it. But every new risk you take, every new step you take, if you're doing things right, if you're paying attention to what happened, if you are absorbing the knowledge that you gained from that mistake, along with the success, you're gonna have successes along the way too, not just mistakes, but it's gonna diminish because you're getting stronger, you're getting smarter, you're getting more agile, and you're getting more aggressive, and you're getting, here's the key word, more hungry.
Welcome to Your Superior Self podcast. I am Trey Downs, blue collar worker turned into blue collar entrepreneur. And each week I will interview inspiring influencers that will help you find your why. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and let's get after it. Hey, what's up, guys? Real quick, I want to take a moment and talk about Alan Stein Jr.'s new book called Raise Your Game. Alan Stein Jr. is an amazing author and former Your Superior Self guest, by the way. Alan is a big supporter of what I'm trying to do with the podcast, and in his book, Raise Your Game, he shares secrets and principles of world-class performers that will help you elevate your game and achieve greater success. Raise Your Game will help you drill down on your answers to these vital questions like, what sacrifices do I need to make? What skills do I need to acquire? Whose help would I benefit from? What challenges should I expect? And what habits do I need to change? This book will be the initial spark to raising your game in every area of your life. Just to give you an idea of how impactful this book is, here are what people are saying. Kevin Durant, Golden State Warrior, NBA superstar and champion, says, quote, Alan played a huge role in my development on and off the court, and in his guidance helped me to get to where I am today. This book is a must-read, end quote. John Gordon, best-selling author of Training Camp and The Carpenter, said, quote, Alan shares what it takes to take your game to the next level. Raise Your Game provides tools, concepts, and strategies you can utilize today to enhance your influence and make an immediate impact on your team, culture, and organization, end quote. Do yourself a favor and pre-order Raise Your Game by Alan Stein Jr. on Amazon today. For more information about Alan Stein or the book, please visit raiseyourgamebook.com. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Your Superior Self. I am Trey Downs, and I just want to take a minute real quick to say thank you to you right now listening to this episode. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to what I'm doing. Please follow me on Twitter at DownsTrey and Instagram at TDowns80. You can follow me on Facebook at Trey Downs, and please leave a rating and a review wherever you get your podcast from. I really, really care about what you guys have to say. So please email me at treydowns@superiorself.net. I want to hear your comments, concerns, whatever. I love hearing from you guys. It really, really fires me up. And I tell you what else fires me up is today's guest, Scott Mulvaney. He is my brother from another mother, and he strives to help others balance the health, business, and lifestyle domains. He's a former USFS Hotshot Wildland Firefighter. Yes, that is legit. Self-obsessed mountain biker, road cyclist, skier, climber, hiker, skydiver, CrossFit trainer, coach, and all-around passionate outdoorsman enthusiast. Check out Scott's podcast, Live the Fuel. In his podcast, he hopes to inspire you and fuel your dreams by taking imperfect action so you can learn and achieve those once unattainable goals. I am fired up about this episode. I hope you are too. Let's get after it. Let's achieve the Freedom Trifecta with Scott tonight and learn about the time, location, and financial freedoms. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Trey.
So can you hit on that a little bit more, like the freedom trifecta? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, last time we chatted, we kind of like danced around it and then really didn't dig into it. But you're like, dude, we got to dig into that. So I was like, yeah. So again, for our listeners, actually, the reason why I'm referencing the past is because Trey and I have actually already recorded it on my show. So he's already been on Live the Fuel. We've already aired him because I just couldn't hold him back. I had to get him up to the forefront. But on that episode, we kind of, at the very end, I just happened to throw that in there. And you're like, what? Like, why didn't we talk about that more? And I said, well, because we're going to talk about it to your audience, because I want to be able to give back even more. So Freedom Trifecta. I won't take full credit for this. I believe in one of my past mentors. I might have even heard a chunk of this or something similar to this from, shout out to Michael O'Neill, the Solopreneur Hour. He was the guy who helped coach me when I first launched my podcast. And he says it in a different way. And then I've always had a thing about this word trifecta. I studied psychology when I was in school and when I was doing my marketing degree. And I learned about most human beings, the way our brains work is we chunk data and can memorize data better in groupings of 3. So, I mean, you could take this back to, I don't know, tie it to Egypt and how the pyramids are shaped, right? And 3 points, top 2 foundations, whatever. So I just started geeking out, and I'm talking about, he talked a little bit about the whole time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. And I'm like, wait a minute, freedom trifecta, man. This is the 3 things that no matter where each of us are in our lives, you don't need millions of dollars to attain these 3 components. I mean, time freedom is simply, do you feel you have enough freedom that you've created in your life to do what you want to do? Doesn't mean you have to do everything, but just start doing what you want to do. If you've done that, boom, you've got time freedom. Financial freedom, wipe out your debt. If you have no debt, you technically have more financial freedom, because if you stop working tomorrow, you have no bills to pay. I mean, obviously, daily life, food, etc. But other than that, okay, financial freedom. And location freedom, well, hell, everybody's trying to pull off this laptop lifestyle nowadays. I work from hotels. I work from all over the place whenever I'm traveling. I can pull into any Starbucks and hop on the free Wi-Fi and go to town, right? So time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom is different for all of us. And I hope to inspire. That's just one little tiny chunk of my brand. Like, hey, let's teach some financial freedom. Let's teach some time freedom. Let's teach some location freedom. Let's figure out this freedom trifecta thing while we're at it. Does that help?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love it. So my next question is, how do you get to that point? Is it like when you get to that point, is it all 3 pillars kicking in at once, or do you achieve one at a time?
There is no perfect answer for that, right? It's just like there is no such thing as perfection. I still have to catch myself nowadays when I say, like, I don't know, I make a mistake and I'm beating myself up because I hold myself to a very high standard and I'm really hard on myself. So I'll catch myself and I'll say, I almost let it slide out like, oh man, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect, right? Worst thing we could be saying to ourselves or to other people. There's no such thing as perfection. So to your point, there is no perfect way to attack this. I think it's important to stay flexible and stay fluid, because life is going to throw a world of shit at you on a regular basis. So great, this week or this month, maybe all of my goal setting and my side hustle work in the evenings, on the weekends, or whatever these people are that are on your show or listen to your show or trying to figure out. It's like, great. Okay. So this weekend, I'm working on financial freedom. I'm putting together maybe some better financial planning. I'm going to start doing my bookkeeping better. I'm going to start looking at ways to make some side income, etc. Cool. But then, I don't know, all of a sudden, you got kids and one gets sick and one gets injured in the ballpark or playing football. And now you're in the hospital or you're at the ER or whatever. Life throws all kinds of things at you. So now you don't have all that time this weekend to work on said financial freedom. But you could take your laptop with you while you're hanging out in the waiting room at the hospital and take advantage of the location freedom to start thinking about, hey, okay, you know what? I'm going to unplug from the money thing, because clearly I'm about to get a big medical bill. Maybe I should focus on something else, like, that upcoming family trip, because that's something that's essential to help me balance my life and unplug and realize that, hey, I can't work day in and day out. I need to unplug, take my family with me, and go do something amazing, like a family trip. That's just an example, right? Of just, you have to stay fluid. You have to move throughout these 3 domains of freedom and to achieve this trifecta. You're not always going to work on one at the same time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm I'm going to go off script here. Like, I'm just going to lay it all out there.
We have a script.
No, we don't. I'm getting whatever kind of like in my mind, like script that I had, I'm going off right now just because I've been thinking a lot about it. So there's been a lot of things in my life that I have been affected by. I know that you have as well, in our personal lives. Like, I like life, for instance, like you're talking about, like reaching these three pillars, the trifecta, the freedom trifecta.
Mm-hmm.
And people seem to not take action on anything. So a lot of things in my life right now it's just like I'm questioning, like, and things that haven't happened to me, but around me, relationships around me recently. I had a friend that just got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I've had a friend that lost his little girl. I've had a friend that, or a relative that just got diagnosed with cancer. And it's kind of like, man, what are we waiting for? And I know that you're struggling with things personally too, but what is it? What is it that makes us comfortable? Like, what is it that we don't take action? Like, why is it that we wait until things like this like come about before we ever like appreciating life?
Well, it's funny, right? So last time you and I talked, right, you kind of slid in there how I had a lot going on lately, right? So we talked about, my dog having cancer, and then we turning him into a tripod, and then him almost dying from the pharmaceuticals from the pain relievers of said cutting his leg off to save his life, because then it's creating renal failure and partial kidney shutdown. And then, and on the side of that, I'm still trying to build my clients' businesses, run a podcast, prepare for my my annual Thanksgiving charity activities, which involves me unplugging for literally like 2 days straight and not sleeping literally at all, and running a charity event in New York City. All these things that are going on. Meanwhile, hey, in my personal life, I have a sister that suffered from depression her whole life, right? I've got all these other variables. So we all have shit. I think what separates maybe you and I from maybe other people listening to this is that this is a common thread, right? This is a common statement that I've said as I've built my show. It became something, especially in the past 6 months, I'm now saying on a regular basis, which is each of us are just at a different place on the timeline. I think that's crucial for people to hear what I'm saying right now, is that whether you're talking about these like viral dudes online, like a Cardone, it's going to 10X this shit, right? Yeah. And you got Gary Vaynerchuk, which just says fuck everything. Like every other word of his mouth is fuck. Okay, well, no offense. I mean, granted, he's made millions of dollars. He helped his family like crush it in the wine and liquor world over New Jersey. I've been to his liquor stores. I've met him at events, at conferences. Whatever, bro. I'm not into this whole fame and like stalker thing. Like, dude, you put your pants on the same way I do. Yeah. You sit on the toilet the same way I do. Maybe you got a bidet. I don't know. Maybe that little tickle of the water up your butt. My point is, we're just at a different place in the timeline, right? So where I am today, I'm much more comfortable and I'm much more confident in a lot of these risks I take. Oh my God, you go back before you even launched the podcast, which is over 2 years ago. So let's go back to me closing out firefighting, right? Finishing that up in end of 2011, moving to Colorado in 2012, before I even moved back to the East Coast. Like, each of these chapters of life shift are going to bring stress. They're going to bring, but also they're going to, with the stress comes new opportunity. That's the biggest thing that you and I think, talk about on our shows that our listeners need to understand, is that, guess what, guys? This is a little quote called "Embrace the Suck." Or I'm wearing a shirt, right? Crushed it, past tense. Not just crush it. No. Already crushed it. Okay, you need to get into that mindset. I'm not going to crush it. No. I already fucking crushed it. That's the mindset you need to get to, because when you slam your head into a wall because, oh my God, life's hard on me, you're going to realize over and over again, once you start doing it a lot, because I've been there a lot, all of a sudden it gets easier. And all of a sudden it's not as numbing. All of a sudden it's not as paralyzing. And you can now reach back to these each and every one of these impacts and say, oh, what did I do there? What did I do there? What did I do there? So let's rewind back to your question. What I'm hinting at is what's already happened. What people who are paralysis by analysis is a common quote, right? They're in this like, oh my God, well, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens? What if this happens? They're now paralyzed because there's fear. Okay. It's okay, guys. Like, ladies and gentlemen, fear is natural. If you're a human being and you're sane, you should be afraid of some things. I mean, literally stood in the forest staring at walls of fire as high as treetops.
Yeah.
Okay. At the time was scary. Now, if I came across it again, I'm like, cool. Right? I've already experienced it. I've already learned from it. I knew I was trained to avoid it, to get around it, survive it, yada, yada, yada. So a long answer on this is that you need to get uncomfortable. The most uncomfortable you can get is going to be the biggest learning opportunity. And the biggest learning opportunity you gain from that is also now going to get hard coded into your brain. Here's the thing about long-term and short-term memory. If you take the easy path day in and day out, you're not going to learn anything and you're not going to memorize anything. When shit hits the fan and you hit that speed bump doing 80 miles an hour and you jump 2 car lengths, FYI, I've tried it, or you've literally slammed metaphysically into a wall head first and picture like blood running down your nose or on each side of your eyes because like you headbutted a wall, whatever. Get these visions in your head. Because guess what? Something powerful is about to happen. I mean, after you shake it off, maybe get rid of the concussion, you're going to pull something from that experience. Like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that again. What did I do? What can I do differently? And then that's going to be memorized because these most painful and traumatic experiences, those are the ones you never forget. Let me close up this thought because I want you to chime in on this. It's your show. But here's a wonderful question. I was just in New York City for my annual Thanksgiving event up in Harlem, New York. Earlier in the day, I was at a house dedication ceremony for a kid living with a very, very traumatic condition where his skin never heals. And a home was dedicated to him and his family from a charity that was called Stephen Siller Foundation. He's an FDNY firefighter who was killed in 9/11 in the towers. Okay. So here's a common question. Here in the United States of America, if you're old enough, 2001, if I asked the question, where were you on 9/11 when the towers fell? Every single person I've ever asked that can answer that question. Trey, where were you on 9/11?
I was in college, freshman year, getting ready to go to class.
Okay.
And as soon, I don't remember, I think it was a cell phone call from my parents because I don't usually watch the news. Like I got up and was preparing for school. And all of a sudden I get a phone call and it was like, turn on the news now, and immediately turned it on. And I went to the University of Delaware, which is very close to New Jersey. Mm-hmm. A lot of New Jersey kids went to the University of Delaware, and a lot of their parents or relatives or friends worked in New York City at the time of 9/11 or in the World Trade Center. Like it was
pandemonium.
Emotional. Yes, it was a pandemonium, and it was an emotional time for everybody.
Because here's the thing, you didn't have any family members in those towers, correct?
No, I did not. Look, fortunate enough.
You saw fellow students freaking out.
Yeah.
Right?
Like worst
case scenario. Their horror, their manifestations manifesting through you.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't care who you are. If you're a basic human being and you see a commercial airliner with human beings on it slam into, at the time, one of the most tallest buildings in the world, and then it happens again and again, and then you hear the Pentagon happening and the Pennsylvania crash happening, it's like, okay, I don't care who you are. You're not going to forget that.
No.
So,
no. Where were you at?
Point. Yeah, I was literally getting ready to go bartend a lunch shift, one of my side hustles at the time, besides when I wasn't at my corporate gig. And same thing. My family's like, hey, they call me up my cell, like, you need to turn the TV on. I'm like, what? Like, turn it on. And then I see the first tower get hit. Mm-hmm. I finished getting changed. I'm like, holy crap. And I'm Mr., work first, whatever. But I'm like, okay. So I turn the radio on in my car, listen to everything driving to work, turn the TV on in the bar at the restaurant as I prepare for the lunch shift, and then monitor the rest of it, and the rest of it unfolded. So I knew I was working while it happened, basically, the rest of it. But I know. And the restaurant was named oh God, what's the name of that town? Jesus. I got to think about that for a second.
In PA?
It's here in PA. It's like 15, 20 minutes from my house. It's literally just outside the town of Nazareth, Pennsylvania. I'm just blanking on the little village because they sold it and it changed names. Now I'm forgetting about the original name. Anyway, I'll remember because that's the trick. Stop thinking about it, and it'll pop in the next 5 minutes. My point is, the theme of this question was that was a traumatic experience psychologically and sometimes physically for many, many people. They'll never forget it. Okay. So take that lesson and apply it to what you're doing in your life. It's easy to get paralyzed by overanalysis. I am very analytical. It's actually one of my natural strengths. If you ever read the book Strengths Finders 2.0, that book I recommend to all of my clients, their employees, and people I've coached, because I'm like, listen, it will spit out your top 5 strengths. Stop wasting time on your weaknesses, outsource your weaknesses, develop your strengths, launch businesses built around your strengths, yada, yada, yada. Point is, I'm very analytical. So I have to learn to live with that and work around that. So again, embracing the traumatic experiences, it's going to teach you and help you memorize what did you learn from that experience, or what did you take away from that experience. So if we constantly live in a state of fear or in a state of paralysis by analysis, we're never going to go anywhere. Yeah. I mean, that's why I love about the Freedom Trifecta. It's only 3 things. Now, there's so many things that can influence those 3. Let's be real. There's so many variables that could fuel the fire for each of these 3 domains. But in the end, it's just a vision. If you have to think about goals, like, great, if I start creating a goals list, could you easily break all of your goals into either location freedom, financial freedom, et cetera, right? Like, it's about simplifying the puzzle. So you can fuel the fire for just these 3 domains. And maybe for the next 6 months, you're only focused on the financial domain. Great. I have one domain. Now I can take all my goals and sign it under that. Let's forget about the other 2 domains right now. They might naturally fall into place on their own while you're crushing it in the financial domain. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode. I wanted to take a minute and thank today's sponsor. After that, I promise we'll get back after it. But here at Your Superior Yourself podcast, I hand select the sponsors that come on the show because I think that they have incredible value that they can offer to you through this show. So today's sponsor is Raise Your Game by Alan Stein Jr. Anyone that pre-orders a book and wants to give it as a gift for the holidays, Alan will hand write a letter that they can actually give as the gift and let them know it will be well worth the wait since the book won't arrive until January. Raise Your Game by Alan Stein will be available January 8th on Amazon. Pre-order now for your holiday gifts. Now back to the show. So I just Googled the Flight 93, Stony Creek Township, Somerset County in Pennsylvania. Is that correct?
Yeah, Western Pennsylvania on the way to Pittsburgh.
Okay, so that's where the plane landed. And just going off of our conversation about 9/11, the heroes on that flight definitely saved a lot of lives and sacrificing their own to get to the head end of that plane and take it down. So,
yeah, because I believe they confirmed that plane was also supposed to head to the Pentagon, I believe, or it was supposed to. That should have been. There were supposed to be 2 for the towers and 2 for the Pentagon, if I remember correctly.
Sure. Yeah. So we all know where we're at in those trying times and those traumatic times, but what? Like, I just don't get it. Like, it takes dramatic things for us to get a boot in our ass and start taking life seriously. I hate it. Like, it makes you think about life in general. It questions your motives. It questions what you've done today. Like, it's like, all right, so, and then it wears off, right? So you hear about all these traumatic things and death comes in threes and
sure.
And you start hearing about people's stories and you're like, oh, I got to change. So I start being a better father or a better spouse or a better employee or entrepreneur. And then next thing you know, it wears off.
We could always be something better. I think that's one of the lessons. I mean, I'm 41 now. I'm still young, but I'm like, there's always the opportunity to improve. There's always opportunity to be that next best person or the next best self. That's always going to happen. I don't care. After all the years of personal and professional development, I know because you care about this too. It's like, guys, like, dude, I've got a physical library. I've got a digital library. I got chunks of my library that I don't even hear anymore that I gave away to other people to help them. Like, here, take this book, take that book. Dude, there's always going to be the opportunity to improve, especially if you're a hard charger. If you're a type A personality or a hard charger, or you're somebody who's type B, but they're trying to grow and learn and absorb some of the attributes of the type A. Because don't stop being a type B, by the way. There's actually strength in that. Actually, there's a great book called The Introvert's Edge. I had him on my podcast, the author. Introvert's Edge talks about the strength of being an introvert and not an extrovert. Okay. So take advantage of that. So some of these people who are listening to this are hardcore introverts, and they're maybe not as crazy as I am and not as outgoing. Well, guess what, guys? Like when I was very, very young, I was actually more introverted. Okay. It took years to develop that and get more outside of my natural self. But in the end, there's still components of me that are naturally introverted. And it's just the only difference is I put in enough reps to overcome that and work around that and use those different things as strengths and not weaknesses, if that makes sense.
I feel like introvert, extrovert is just like a recent term, you know, like I feel like I don't think that people growing up knew what that was. You know what I mean? Like, did you know that you were introverted growing up? Like, no. You didn't know that. You just thought you were shy.
I think we're shy. You're outgoing. I mean, honestly, if you go way back, you're either a bookworm or you're an athlete, right? Which is stupid because you could be a highly intelligent athlete,
or you're just quiet.
Back then, you were either a jock or the nerd, right? Like, no. I mean, come on, guys. There's all different ways that these are manifested, and they've been described in different ways. They've given different titles. Either you're really in yourself, or you're really out of yourself, and you thrive off of being around people, or maybe you'll be afraid of that and you like being more close quartered.
Well, it's like these cool terms that everybody wants to use now, right? So, you know, entrepreneur never used to be cool. Now it's cool, supposedly. And then
now it's being overused.
Yes, absolutely. Introvert, extrovert, whatever. Like my parents used to say, well, he's just quiet. Trey's just quiet. No, I just didn't know what the fuck I wanted to say. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's funny you bring this up. This just happened tonight. I was at dinner with some good friends, and this woman was there who I've now become friends with. And it's funny because we just had, you hear this new thing called Friendsgiving? What's that all about? Anyway, so I've been to 3 Friendsgivings this week, by the way. So I'm like, okay, guys, let's slow this Friendsgiving habit. It's either Thanksgiving and now there's Friendsgiving, but now everybody wants to have a Friendsgiving. So now like my schedule's getting packed out because all these different people. What's one side effect of being an extrovert, making a lot of inner circle friendships is like now you're being invited to all these different Friendsgivings. So
how'd that go, by the way? How'd the 3 Friendsgivings?
Well, it's funny. So let me connect this back in. So one of them, this woman who was at dinner tonight, her husband was there. And at dinner tonight, I overhear everybody talking about this guy who's like this professor, and he used to work for like NRH or NHI or some big medical influencing organization, and like smart dude. And I'm like, who are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And they look over like her husband. And I was like, wait, the dude who didn't talk very much at Friendsgiving the other night? They're like, yeah. I was like,
Friendsgiving.
Dude, he's like highly intelligent, like PhD level, professor level, used to run a major organization. Like I had no idea. But one thing I have learned over the years is highly intelligent individuals. You will learn as you progress, especially in social encounters, that when you're new at it, you may try and, because I've been there, you may try and overcommand the conversation and really try and lead, or maybe try and oversell yourself. Whereas individuals like him, and maybe he's a introvert, but he's also intelligent enough. I could tell he's analyzing the room. He's listening to what everybody is saying. Like he's processing, right? Now that I know who they were talking about tonight, I was like, oh, that now makes perfect sense why that guy was so quiet that night, because his brain is at a whole different level. It's like the founder of Tesla. When he's on Joe Rogan's podcast, right? Like that dude,
Elon
he
Musk
is socially awkward because his brain is going like.
Did you see him? Like when he was talking, like his eyes were just like yeah. Elon Musk is my hero. Like he is.
Well, Joe even said it during the podcast. He's just like, Elon. He's like, how many ideas are going through your head right now? He's like, because I could tell. And he's like, I can't even tell you. There's so many. He's just like, how long has it always been? Oh, he's like, since I was a kid. He's like, I thought there was something wrong with me when I was a kid. Like Elon, at his youth, was afraid to tell people about how smart he was. He didn't realize that how fast his brain was processing ideas, and he was just the way he is. And he was afraid that they might like put him away or whatever. So it's funny when we talk about these things, because somebody like Elon, Nowadays, he's put in enough reps where he just creates anything. They were making fun of the fact that he sold a blowtorch online. Like he made like this blowtorch looking weapon or whatever.
Hold on. First off, he makes a point to say it's not a blowtorch.
Flamethrower. Yeah. It wasn't even blowtorch. It was a flamethrower. But he's like, well, it's not a real flamethrower. And I'm like,
yeah.
There's flames that come out of the device. Could be considered a flamethrower.
Well, have you ever read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie?
Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People, yes.
That book is a classic. If you haven't read it, read it. Pick it up right now off of Amazon. Get it a present for somebody for Christmas. Because
you just name dropped. Well, I mean, Dale Carnegie, old school influencer. His practices have been recreated by countless people. In the end, there's only so many ideas. They're just recreated. So Dale Carnegie's one of your founders. Jim Rohn is one of your founders, right?
Yes. Yes.
God, just one more in there. There's the top three. Who else am I thinking of?
Tony Robbins?
No, older. You got to go older, man. Come on.
Dale Carnegie?
Go back to like the 60s. We
60s.
Dale Carnegie.
Jim Rohn. I'm just a big I love Jim Rohn. Like he is. I always watch him on YouTube. I always like try to watch some of his seminars.
T. Harv Eker.
Oh, why did I not?
Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Why did I not?
He's old school.
Him? Yeah, he's definitely old school. Have you ever listened to some of the old school YouTube like snippets of him, like of Dale Carnegie? Like I love it. I love it. Like I make it a point to listen to him and Jim Rohn on
But
YouTube.
back then, people looked at these people as if they're crazy. Just like people like who see people like you and I who are trying to create positive change and increase our public speaking and do things through podcasting or like writing a book or launching a YouTube channel. You're just trying to positively create change in the world. But people see that as, because this kind of, we're bringing a full circle back to your point about why people are afraid to take action on this shit, is that, I'm not going to nicely say this. People give a shit too much about what the fuck other people think. Stop giving a shit about what the fuck other people think. Why? Because you're just giving them all of your power. You need to contain your power to fuel the fire of what you believe in and what you want to take action in. Stop worrying about what your oldest friend since high school thinks. Guess what? They haven't done much since high school. I'm just saying not all of them, but some people, right? It's like, you can still be friends with them. But you might want to modify your inner circle of influence. Jim Rohn, right? Product of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Okay, I can still be friends with you. But how much time am I giving you if you've done nothing with your life since high school? We talked about this on my show with people you know. We're not ripping on them. I'm not saying that they're any less of a person. What pisses me off is when people give too much shit about what the fuck other people think. There's your hack, people. We could stop the show right now if we wanted to. If you want to create positive change in the world, go do it. If you're afraid you might make a mistake, guess what? We all have. It's going to happen. Those mistakes fuel the fire to figure out where you're going to go next.
Speaking about that,
I got to pause on that because I'm going to keep going. Like, I need to let you chime in on that, man.
Like, I just agree with that 100%. Like, people need to, like, that's like the biggest worry. That was my biggest
problem with social media.
Yeah. That was my biggest fear is when I launched my podcast, what my X amount of friends on Facebook would think, what my friends at home would think, what my parents would think. And I was worried. I was worried to death because it wasn't for them. It was for me.
Here's something funny. Because I just got to ask you, does your wife listen to your podcast?
Ooh, not at first, but because
my fiance has never listened to my podcast.
Really?
And I don't give a shit.
Really?
She doesn't. She's like, I live with you. I hear you enough. She's like, I can hear you through the wall in the room with you all fired.
What's her name?
Kristen, yeah. Dr. Kristen, VMD. So it's funny because we were doing our wedding invites, and so we were shooting when she signs the forms, because like we had to sign up for the helicopters, we had to sign up for like the helicats and shit for our wedding next year. And it's like I see the forms because she leaves them on my desks because she doesn't want to figure out how to use my scanner. And I'm like, baby, it's not rocket science. You're a doctor. Like, it's just a scanner. Like, it's okay. And anyway, so I got to scan the documents to send them in for our own wedding. And she's like, you know, listen, it's the only thing you have to do. Anyway, so I just had a vent about that. But she's like, people are like, you don't listen to Scott's podcast? He's been rocking this for two years. It's like,
he's on like 232 right now.
Yeah. She's like, I'll, maybe once he becomes like a Joe Rogan. And I'm like, oh man, the burn.
Feel the burn. That's the new name of the podcast. Feel the burn.
Yeah.
But
no. I don't care. She's not my target audience.
She's not your she's not your niche
Who's
audience.
your target audience?
Yes.
Is your wife your target audience?
No, absolutely not. And what does Pat Flynn always say? The riches are in the niches, right?
That's it.
That's it. No, she has tried to. And you know what my biggest problem is though, like I'll get like I try to be true to myself. Like I try to be Trey Downs, who Trey Downs is. Like I don't try to be anybody else but who I am. And I always get Facebook messages or I get emails about I should try to do this more. I should try to do that more. Like, how do you handle that? Like,
do I know how to handle that? Right here.
Oh,
for the people listening, I just did a double bird flip, double middle finger, because there are plenty of people that would love to share their ideas and what they think you should do. I'm going to give you a perfect example. When I started publishing more to YouTube, I started increasing my YouTube traffic because that's there's your little hack, ladies and gentlemen. People are like, oh, how do you grow it on YouTube? Put in the reps. Don't put one video up a month. Put up 2 videos a week at least. Like that's what I'm doing, my podcast. That's why I switched my podcast to video. But here's the thing. It's a different platform, right? Traditional podcast world, all audio based. You don't see anything. You go to the YouTube world, it's all video. And now granted, if you're paying for YouTube Red, people can listen to the video while it's playing in the background on the app if you're on your smartphone while you're driving, kind of like a podcast app. People do that. So you don't have to watch it. You can still listen if you have YouTube Red. Another hack. But point is this. All of a sudden I started I had notifications turned on when people comment on the videos. Mm-hmm. Now, fast forward, I turned that off because I really don't give a shit. But in the beginning, people were like, oh my God, this guy's so full of himself. Why don't he let the person he's interviewing talk? And I was like, okay, I'll take some constructive criticism. And this was like one troll, like not like a whole lot of trolls, just like one troll. Because that's what trollers do. They have nothing. Here's the best part. So when I had free time, I went back and clicked on the dude's profile. There's not even a profile photo. It's like a phantom. Like you have no followers and you're just talking shit on my video while I'm taking action in my life and creating content. You have 0 videos in your YouTube. You don't even put your photo up because you don't have the balls to, and you have no influence, but you're going to sit there and talk smack on somebody's video. And if you would actually went to my website or read the bio in my YouTube channel, you would know I don't fucking interview people, you moron. It's my goddamn podcast. I spend the money every single year. It's self-funded. I spend the thousands of dollars a year to run this podcast, market it, do everything else. And I bring on guest co-hosts like Trey, and we have a 2-way conversation. And yes, some people I need to talk a little bit more because maybe they're a little closed up and I got to bring them out of their shell. Have you been there, Trey? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my God. I just interviewed somebody. I'm not going to say who, but it was like, it was painful. It was painful. Like I had to go a little deeper. I had to talk a little bit longer. It was just like, we didn't vibe well, you know, like I'm sure you have those types of interviews,
but it's okay. But see, again, I don't interview.
Well, you had those.
You were a guest co-host on my show. You were not being interviewed by me. You were helping run the show. Yeah. So I was going to clarify that because I'm the odd man out. Everybody assumes that all podcasts are interviews. If you hear a second voice, it's an interview.
I love what you're doing. Because it's like you guys share the platform. You guys can go seriously. What really inspired me to want to do a podcast, like I've always been kind of like, I love like Howard Stern, how he does things. Like his interview doesn't seem like an interview. It seems
he's
like
the greatest interviewer of all time as far as
yes. And then like Dan Patrick, like I love his show. Like when I sit back and watch Dan Patrick and the Danettes, like they have a conversation like the entire time. Like I enjoy watching them. I enjoy that show. And like you and I, we banter back and forth. We go off each other. It's like tennis, right?
That's the point.
Yeah, and I love that. And
it forces me to interact with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I had a pre-designed perfect template of 15 to 20 questions for Q&A, like I could be talking like, "Oh, Trey, so what do you think about 9/11 and blah 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 blah?" And then I don't hear that you were actually in school in Delaware, and actually it sounded like you were more affected by what your fellow students were impacted because their family members were in New York, whereas you didn't. So there was a personal connection, but there was also a connectivity through your own friendships, right? So I heard that.
Yeah.
But if I'm just following a boring Q&A format, I would just pass right over that. I never even heard it. Like you could have like in the middle there, you could have said, "Oh, and by the way, like I fucked a goat on this weekend." But anyway, so about my podcast, and like seriously, this has happened. Like there are people out there who have the balls to do this. Like they could tell that they're being like structurally like managed as an interview throughout the show, and people are like crazy, like people like Joe Rogan or other crazy people like that. They will just go ahead and like slip it in like a little zinger in there, and then seriously. I've had people on my show tell me they've done it just to test the person, and they zipped right over it. They didn't hear a damn thing.
Wait, have you done that though?
No, I feel I should, but I can't. Yeah. No, I should say can't. I never say can't. I just haven't felt like it yet. Sometimes I feel bad. I feel like I have to. Like I'm not the best interviewer in the world. But I am confident in what I've accomplished. I'm confident in the content of my shows. And I do feel I have something to teach and share. So I will maybe help the person along in their podcast, especially if they're younger or they just launched and they haven't put as many reps in. I'm sorry, guys. Like the average length of my show is an hour long. I have 232 shows up online. Do the math.
Yeah.
If you've done 5, I think I have a little bit more experience than you.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Right? So
absolutely.
It's like,
and you're doing 2 a week.
You've done over how many shows you have up online now?
You'll be my 38th.
Okay, so there you go. You've now done 38 rounds, 38 reps, right? Think back to when it was episode 1 through 3.
I don't want to think about that.
I'm going to challenge you to go back and listen to episode 1 through 3.
God,
I've done it.
I can't listen to it.
I do it. Dude, I literally have it hard-coded. It's scheduled in my iPhone. Every 6 months, I have to go back and listen to episodes 1 through 3 to remind myself where I come from.
Hi, my name is Trey Downs. Welcome to Your Superior Self.
Well, it's funny because you and I were talking the other day about like my boom arms, right, with my lighting and the microphone and stuff like that.
I got a new light too, by the way. I got a new light for here. Yeah.
The lighting does look better, by the way.
Hold on, watch.
See, that's what you were on my show.
Yeah. On Your Superior Self, you got to see me a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, it looks. I'm telling you, lighting is everything. Like I am not some audio visual guru, but when I've studied all these people, everybody says lighting can change everything. Like, look, if I turn this off, there you go.
Like, but this is what I'm talking about is,
and I have the main light on in the room, and you need this light.
But this is what I'm talking about, like, right? So I had no clue how to run a podcast.
Again, the podcast listeners have no idea what we're talking about, so you have to watch this on YouTube.
So. I know, watch it on YouTube
because I'm giving Trey the video content. He's going to put this up on YouTube.
But this is like lesson number 1. You will not be the best when you start, but you will continue to put the reps in, like Scott says, and then one day you'll talk to a Scott Mulvaney, and he'll give you the tips and the inside information on how to get better, and that's how you step your game up.
Yeah, because guess what? I've fucked up a few times too.
Everybody has. Everybody has. That's life. And
because that's the power. There's the power. We talked about this, right, Trey? Like, oh my God, stop being afraid. Take action. Like literally, I was just out of my garage installing one of those universal TV mounts. I'm going to mount a big flat screen in there for my upcoming ski tuning party that I do every year. We grill, and I have a very large garage. And it's just been a giant man zone garage. I literally created a hashtag called "This Old Garage," and every time I post on Instagram and stuff like that, I even have my own album on Facebook. It's just all the photos as I keep morphing this garage forward. And anyway, the point is, Dude, I studied microelectronics technology at a Votech school in high school before I even went to college for engineering the first time at Penn State. So like I used to tear apart circuit boards and rebuild them. And I'm techie. I pull out the universal mount and I mounted it backwards. So it's like, I'm literally, right before I came in here to talk to you, I was like, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the diagram, and obviously these manuals suck nowadays. But I was like, that photo doesn't look right. And then I look again and I'm like, this metal really should be flush. And then I turn the page and they have the photo in a different angle. And I'm like, okay, I need to completely flip these brackets around. Once I did that, now it's perfect. Like before I could leave that garage, I had to finish that remount. It was going to drive me crazy. I mean, I'll be back in there tomorrow after my workout to go finish mounting on the wall. But it's like, okay, really? Like, oh darn, I made a mistake. Oh well, get over it.
Get over it.
Right. But next time I'm helping a buddy mount a flat screen, I'm like, do not do this, bro. Cause I wasted 10 extra minutes having to tear it all apart and rebuild it again, take all the screws out and redo it.
But that's what I'm talking about, man. Like getting these connections, making these introductions with people that have already done what you've done or wanted to do, and you're saving time. Like, the podcast, you've done 232 episodes. I've done 38. I want to get in there and know everything that all the mistakes.
Dude, my client has done, he's approaching 2,000 podcasts. I was like,
what's his podcast name?
And he's my client.
What's his podcast?
Fitness Confidential.
Fitness Confidential.
He's the trainer to the stars out in LA. He was known as the celebrity fitness trainer, but then he rebranded it to match his book. So everything is Fitness Confidential. He's Vinny Twitterich. So
2000, could you all right, so you're on 2000, episode 2000. Are you still kind of like embarrassed by episode 500?
Knowing Vinny, I mean, he's hardcore. Like he's dude, I have a lot in common with this guy. Oh, hold on, dude. Wait a minute. I'm not kidding you. Holy shit. Yep. Episode 1197 went up. So that means next week he's publishing like 5 shows a week, dude. Now he wasn't always like, he started with 2 or 3 a week, then added a 4th, then added a 5th. So anyway, he just aired 1197. So in a few days he'll have 2000 so he'll have 1,200 shows. I'm sorry, I'll correct myself. I'm still sleep deprived from New York.
I'm still
over 1,000 shows. Okay,
that is insane.
So he's got literally
phenomenal.
Like 5 times? 5 times what I've done.
Yeah.
I mean, do the math for you. He's approaching 1,200. Let's just take 30 to 1,200. He's 40 times you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's phenomenal, dude. That is phenomenal to be that. Like, just be consistent. Like, the consistency.
And he averages 1 million downloads a month.
1 million a month.
And here's the best part. You ever hear of people like Cliff Ravenscraft and all these guys who train how to do the best podcasting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Vinny will tell you. He went to an event at a conference for podcasters years ago, and Cliff was speaking, and he walked in. And he listened to it.
Back out.
And he turned to his famous James Bond movie model girlfriend, Serena Scott Thomas. And she's like, "Oh, why are you leaving? We should stay." And he's just like, if I did anything this fucking guy said, he's like, my show would tank. This guy's supposed to be an expert. He's like, our show's already growing, and I've never followed any of the standard protocols of podcasting world. Then he just picked up a microphone one day, and his friend Anna, which is one of his guest co-hosts, she's a voiceover professional who did the voiceover work for my show. Mm-hmm. And she's an author and cookbook creator. And anyway, but Anna's like, Vinny, let's do a podcast, because you're going to finish writing your book, and you need a way to market the book. Like, he's old school. Like, people didn't know who he was. In LA, everybody knew who he was, but in the online world, he didn't exist. So he had to create a website and a podcast to grow his brand, because he wanted to help more people and teach the regular everyday people that weren't famous people who paid him a lot of money what his trademark, which is NSNG, no sugar, no grains, was. Like, this is how he helped keep Hollywood thin.
Yeah.
Like, it's mind-blowing. He has thousands of followers now. Anyway, so I work a lot with his social media and everything. I help him with the marketing stuff. But anyway, the point is that Vinny just started putting in the reps, dude, and you hone it. And it gets better. you know, and he still makes mistakes to this day. He gets
It's
pissed
just like
off.
life, bro.
Yeah.
It's just like life. You got to put in the reps.
He still hasn't fully moved over to Zoom yet, bro. Like I've been preaching to him and his co-founder of his company. He's like, dude, please switch to Zoom. But yeah, every once in a while, Zoom, I have a mistake. So he keeps going. He's like, he does some Zoom. He does some Skype. He takes forever to make changes. I love Vinny, man. Shout out to Vinny if he ever hears this. But like, dude, just commit, man. Like, just move over. Like, he can't let the old school go. He's like 57. He's old school. No offense.
talk about. So we talked about last time your like moment in the sun as far as firefighting, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The moment that you really just knew that this was for you. Like, talk about that moment for you for podcasting, like, and doing what you're doing today. Like, what was that moment for you that he made you realize that this is what you're meant to do?
You know, I think I was somewhere in the first 25 shows. I'm blanking on who it was at this point in time, but we were finishing the show, and like a lot of my shows, I'll stop hitting record on the audio, but the video, I'll just leave the video run like a little extra behind the scenes, and I don't edit it. It all just goes up on YouTube. So we're just shooting the shit. Like, you know, it's not even in the podcast. And I've had numerous people be like, dude, good job. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I've been on a lot of shows and I love this format.
Mm-hmm.
I love how casual you are. You're a natural. Your voice sounds amazing, blah, blah, blah. Your audio is great. Like all these positive, like, yeah, you know, stroke my ego, pat me on the back. I'm like, thank you. But you eventually hear it enough times, and I didn't ask, right? It's just, they tell me. And it's like, okay, how many people need to tell you you're doing a good job before you realize you're doing a good job? Like, but that's why I'm sharing with this, because there's people listening to your show, going back to your earlier points in the show, where people are sitting there with paralysis by analysis and they're worried about making mistakes. And you probably have people in your life that are already telling you, like, dude, you are natural at this, or you sound great, or you are doing a great job at this job or this task or this thing. And it's like, holy shit, why don't you do something with it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like your buddy crushes it in physics.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, granted, I know nothing. I mean, I dabble in a little physics on the side, but I don't read physics textbooks. But I'm like, eventually you've read enough physics textbooks that maybe you should do something with all that content.
Yeah.
Maybe you launch a podcast where you review the books you've read on physics.
Yeah.
And you just target people who geek out about physics.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Now you could talk about what you're obsessed with, and then other people who geek out about physics like you do become your followers. You don't need 1 million downloads a month. Maybe it's 200. Maybe it's 500. I don't know how many people like your buddy love physics that much, but I'm sure there's a few other people in this world.
Like maybe 5.
I'll give your buddy a vote of confidence. I'm sure there's a few others, but you see where I'm going with this.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just when you start seeing downloads, and fast forward, I think episode 51, when I had famous Dr. Jack Cruz. He's like the guy who's obsessed with blue light blocking sunglasses, and he's a famous neurosurgeon, and he's really helped influence my life when it comes to a lot of different practices I've done, but with my health hacks. But that guy was the first time I just cracked my nut. Like, he just, boom, first 24 hours, over 1,000 downloads. I was like, whoa,
wow,
what was that? Like, my show had never done that before. I was like, who's this guy? And then I find out, I didn't realize how big of a following he had.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as he like retweeted or Facebook posted my show, my downloads blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like the aha moment. Like, I'm a marketing guy, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, it's okay. Like, you're not always going to have guys like that, but every once in a while, that's a nice little extra high to get when you start, boom, like you get this huge download spike. You're like, what? So
yeah. Well, it's like that saying, right? As long as you keep getting up to bat, like you might get a single, double, single, triple, maybe, but then you'll get that home run.
Well, think about it now. Nowadays, I have 4 different, I'm calling them agencies. I don't know what they call themselves, but I have 4 different companies who just email me saying, hey, we have a client that would like to come on your show.
Yeah.
Would you say yes or no?
before I
great.
forget,
Like, I don't have to hunt people down anymore. I'm like, no. Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Well, before I forget, because I want to give her some love, Mary Shores.
Right. There you go.
Yes. Got us
She got us connected. And that's not even one of these people.
No, that is
She mentioned
her.
you after our first show together, before we even brought her on a second time. Because I vibed so well with her. And she's like, we should do another show. And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Book it. And
she's
already
great.
planning on doing another one.
She's great. Mary Shores is fantastic. I actually bought her book, and I couldn't put it down. Like I read it probably faster than I read most books, because it's on the same level that I'm on. And I highly suggest, actually, I'm going to look for her book right now, but just describe to the audience right now, because it's on my bookshelf. I'm going to grab it. But your discussion with her.
Mary was, one thing I appreciate about her was she's a straight shooter. And that's one thing that I think that's why I knew, Trey, that you and I would connect so well, is that there you go. Conscious Communications. I have it digitally. I bought it on Audible. Cause again, I love audiobooks. So, but I love the title of her book. Like, she kept it true, is that you have to remain conscious in many things in life, but I mean, communication should not be rocket science, but she gets into a lot of underlying principles that fuel that topic of conscious communication. So the funny thing was, the very first episode, I titled it those keywords to help increase her SEO online, but we just got very personal many, many times too. And I just appreciated how approachable she was. She's built a very successful collections agency, but she's not done it through like abuse and stalking and aggressive nature. She's literally having her people and her team focus on communicating with people like human beings and listening. There's one of your hacks in conscious communications. That's why she and I geeked out so much, because here's a little topic that we talked about, Trey, but I didn't actually label it this way, which is active listening skills. Not just listening, actively listening. Like, don't plan your next step. Like, hear what people are saying, actively engage in what they are saying. Stop worrying about where you want to take the conversation. Live in the moment, right? Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest things in podcasting that's missing too, that I try and change and shift. And I think you're realizing it too. It's just like, yes, it's important to have a goal for the show, but sometimes you just got to live in the moment, man, and see where it's going to take you.
Like right now, right now, she taught me that lesson too. And so are you, Scott. Like I can have this whole structured show out, and I can have each topic that I want to talk about, but this isn't going to grow me as a host, like the way that you and I communicate, the way that we volley off each other. Yeah. Because this is what really makes me think quickly and makes me kind of relate to you as a guest or a co-host. Like, this is how I listen. It makes you get better at listening. Conscious Communications is her book. Like Scott said earlier, I highly suggest you pick it up. Mary Shores. I agree. Yes. Mary Shores.
I buy every book of every author who's ever come on my show. They don't pay me to do that. Yeah. That's my money, dude. I'm like, if they have it physical, I order it physical. I prefer to get it digital and Audible, but if they don't have it on Audible, I will, to honor them coming on my show, I will buy their book. Yeah. And I add them to my special Amazon influencer page. So all the books are there too. But it's like, that's just me thanking them.
Absolutely.
I can't always pass on the book, but it's like,
hey, didn't have to say anything to you about, hey, I was on Trey's show, we vibe well. He's a good guy. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. That's just how that's the person.
Well, it's funny because at the end of the show, I was like, oh, you know what? I just talked to so-and-so and so-and-so. I'd like to get them connected with you. And she's like, I've thought that about you. She's like, we joked around about how the word networking has gotten blown out of proportion. So we focused on influence and connectors, right? Yeah. And she's like, I realized, like, at the end of every podcast, I'm always thinking about, like, for you and for her, like, who else can I get you guys connected with? Because now that I've done 230 plus shows, I know a few people, and some of those people are other podcasters. Sure. So whether it be other authors or, because Mary has a show, I can just in my inner circle of the podcast world now, I can actually help get people connected. And that's some of the takeaway there, is just to honor those relationships. And you can't beat a nice, warm, fuzzy inner circle connection versus some cold, random thing from some random person contacting you.
Some random dude.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because like that's the other thing. Like now that I've done 230 plus shows, like naturally you look more legitimate, right? There's a website. I'm on all the podcast platforms. I'm on YouTube. I'm everywhere else. People go to the show, they go to the website, they see there's 230 shows, like, holy shit. Okay, he's been up for a little while. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you are legit. I mean, you did our show and like you submitted all the links and all the information. I was like, damn, bro. Like this guy's legit. Like,
oh yeah, that's right. I did see your reply and I'm like, I read it, I'm like, oh, maybe he's impressed by the email template.
No, I'm just like this guy. I'm like, you're lucky if I get a freaking link. I'm just like, I'll send it to you. My lips and link.
Dude, but I wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
Right. Putting in the reps. As I've grown the show, I've grown these templates because I've started adopting things like adding a VA into my team. I want a virtual assistant. I can't do everything forever. I just launched a new inbox 2 weeks ago. I now have a new email called podcast@livethefuel.com. So these agencies, I'm tired of them muddying my personal inbox. So I'm moving them into a separate inbox because I'm looking at a new VA now. But if I get a new VA, I'm going to VA manage that inbox and say, okay, filter this shit. Here's my protocols. I have a template. Here's what I'm looking for. Health, business, and lifestyle. They got to be able to discuss these things. It's in my form on the website. Then like sum them all up and then send them to me. Like I want a go between just to help filter the noise. Right.
Sure.
But again, that's now. This is now we're talking here in November, at the end of November, 2018. I didn't think about that a year ago.
Yeah.
I didn't have the email template I sent you. I created that 6 months ago. I wasn't doing that 6 months ago. I've changed that template probably 10 times, moving bullet points, moving file attachments. I just started sending the actual YouTube share link that was in the email body. I just added that like 3 months ago. I was like, oh yeah, crap. I'm never sending the YouTube link. I should probably send the YouTube link while I'm at it because maybe they don't subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I'm always trying to proactively think, what else could I provide my guest co-host or their administrative assistant, because maybe the freaking co-host didn't give me their email and I'm having to get this shit to their, I want to give you, my guest co-host, as much content as possible to help you share this, to help you grow your brand. Yeah. And obviously in turn, it helps grow my show and my brand. Yeah. But so again, I didn't always do this. There's always a metamorphosis. There's always a growth pattern. This is another full circle point back to the beginning of your show, which is, guys, in order to build your superior self, you have to take action. You have to just embrace the fact that you're never going to be, quote, perfect. You're going to be on a metamorphosis forever. Embrace the suck, guys.
Embrace the suck. Scott, I could talk to you all night, brother. Tell us how we can connect with you, dude. Like, how can my guys listen to you?
Everywhere is at Live the Fuel. So at Live the Fuel on Twitter, at Live the Fuel on Instagram, at Live the Fuel on Facebook. It doesn't really matter, guys. Just go to livethefuel.com. All the social media is linked there. The podcasts are there. Obviously, the show is called Live the Fuel. We fuel your health, your business, your lifestyle. But yeah, I made it simple for branding. Everywhere is Live the Fuel. And people are welcome to connect with me on Facebook personally, too. I actually have a bigger personal friends list than my likes on Live the Fuel on Facebook, which is hilarious. Like a long time ago, I had more likes on Live the Fuel than I had my friends list. But then again, guys, you put in the reps, you meet enough people and you're building new friendships, you're building new connectivity. And next thing you know, you got like over 4,500 friends on Facebook. I'm like, how did that happen?
How did that happen? I think like 5 is the max, right?
5 is the max. That's why a few months back, I started a new Facebook page called just Scott Mulvaney, my speaker page, because eventually I'm not gonna be able to friend people anymore. So I have to make sure people can still like and follow when I'm on stage and doing speaking, which is separate from Live the Fuel. So again, didn't think about that 2 years ago. So
yeah. So at the very end of my show, I want you to give me an inspirational, like little talk, a little pep talk. I'm thinking about doing something different in my life, getting out of my comfort zone. I need you to kind of hype me up and light that fire, light the fuel inside of my soul.
I'm actually going to fully encapsulate this around you, Trey. You and I had more in common than I realized when you came on my show. We both are fans of Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway is one of the key influencers and inspiration behind you creating your superior self. Am I wrong?
No, you're correct.
Okay.
100% right.
So we talked a lot about quotes last time you and I talked, and Live the Fuel what became an acronym Fuel actually stands for Fired Up Epic Life, which was originally Live the Fired Up Epic Life, which I created from an original quote from Ernest Hemingway, which I've used for years, which is live life to the fullest. So I'm like, I'm not going to take that dude's quote. I'm going to create my own. So live life to the fullest helped me basically shift it to live the fired up epic life, which has shrunk to just live the fuel to create some easier branding. But my point is this, guys. Yes, I'm here to fuel your health, your business, your lifestyle. Okay. We talked about this all night tonight. It is take action, take imperfect action. Don't worry about perfect. Take imperfect action. Make the mistakes, learn from the mistakes, take note of the mistakes, because that is what's going to fuel your fire. Because every time you make a new mistake, the aftermath or the results, the possible trauma that comes off of it actually diminishes. I'm not even kidding you. This is straight up. In the beginning, you might have some like serious aftermath. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Shit's gonna hit the fan. Embrace the suck, guys. It's part of it. But every new risk you take, every new step you take, if you're doing things right, if you're paying attention to what happened, if you are absorbing the knowledge that you gained from that mistake, along with the success, you're going to have successes along the way too, not just mistakes, but it's going to diminish because you're getting stronger, you're getting smarter, you're getting more agile, and you're getting more aggressive, and you're getting, here's the key word, more hungry. All right. So that's what you want. You have to. If you don't take these steps and don't take these imperfect actions, you're never going to get to that phase of aggressive hunger. And we need that. That's what fuels my fire. I'm hoping that fuels your fire too.
I love that. That fires me up, dude. I'm getting ready to run into this wall.
Headbutt that sucker, man.
Scott, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. Every time you come on, it is a pleasure. This is the second time because we had technical difficulties the first, but every time I talk to you, it is like a breath of fresh air, brother. I really do appreciate you coming on.
Hey, it's been an honor, brother.
I want to say thank you to Scott Mulvaney for coming on Your Superior Self. It was a genuine conversation with myself along with you, the listener. Thank you, Scott. Check out his podcast at Live the Fuel. Wherever you get your podcast from, please leave a rating and a review. It helps us out greatly. It gets us more listeners. It helps us reach. It helps us provide others with great content as well. So make sure to do that as soon as possible. Please follow me on Instagram at TDowns80 and Twitter at DownsTrey. Check me out on Facebook at Trey Downs or the fan page at Your Superior Self. All right, guys. It was really fun. This was awesome. Thank you so much for joining, and I will talk to you guys later.